Coming off as a county executive just 2 months ago, I can certainly, I think more than anybody in this room, sympathize with what you're going through. And first of all, let me say thank you very much for the advocacy that NISAC does on behalf of counties. I was insulted, to say the least, when I heard the governor proclaim that the counties had blank check syndrome when it comes to Medicaid. Quite frankly, if state government ran as efficiently as the average county government, we'd have no $6 billion deficit, and we're providing better services more efficiently. Again, I think that that's quite a swipe at the counties that really at the end of the day are delivering the services that our taxpayers truly want and need. My question is to go back to Medicaid. I know in Chautauqua County, where I'm from, and as I said, I was county executive, 50 cents of every property tax dollar paid to Chautauqua County covers just the local share of Medicaid. My first question is and I know these numbers are as high as 100% in Erie County, for example. So do you have an idea on average, number one, of what percentage of property tax dollars that are paid go to pay that local share of Medicaid that we're the last state in the nation, by the way, that burdens local county governments with?
Go ahead.
So it varies, and to Governor Cuomo's credit, he has implemented this hard cap, and that's made a huge difference for the counties and their property taxpayers. And Governor Pataki started it in 2005. It works. That's why you must fight to keep these Medicaid caps. They work. They stabilize property taxes. In Erie County, for example, they collect $200 million in property taxes, and they pay $200 million in Medicaid expenditures. For other counties, it ranges from 70%, but that number is going down over the years. But for the problem for the governor and the state is the state share of that is going up. And that's why he's trying to reduce those expenditures. But for counties, it's been a lifesaver, enabling counties to not raise property taxes and be able to provide local services.
Well, I personally believe that 100% of the cost of Medicaid should be borne by the state because, quite frankly, we're never going to see true reform if the state's not having to be responsible for 100% of the bill that they control 100% of. But also to that, to that same effect, when you start talking about Medicaid reform, I think that if the governor really wants to put together a Medicaid redesign team, he could choose people from the 49 other states that have a lower cost of Medicaid than New York. That'd be a great way to start. But as far as this 3% cap, I see this as like when you buy a product and there's a manufacturer's rebate, and the manufacturer knows that a certain percentage of people just aren't going to fill out the form correctly or dot all the I's and cross all the T's to get the rebate. So I feel that the governor is banking on certain counties not being able, again, because they can't control the growth rate because they don't control the program, of exceeding that 3% and covering that cost. And that's how he's going to close this gap. And my question to you is, and I know this is a difficult thing to answer, but what do you think is going to happen? How many counties do you think are going to be able to stay below that 3%, just
Half.
as a globally?
Half will and half won't.
Yeah. So 50%.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So 50% of the counties then are essentially going to end up covering that cost of the Medicaid program that's 100% controlled by the state.
Yes, Kyra, would you like to add anything further on that?
Yeah, and I think there's going to be so many unintended consequences. We're going to have border wars with our homeless population, and it's going to seep into all those other populations that we serve. And we all work very well together at this point. The SSI population, wherever they go, that Medicaid's turned on. So it becomes much more complicated, and it truly becomes the race to the bottom.
Well, I agree, and also, when you start talking about unfunded mandates, the only things that aren't mandated, for county governments are the services, things like senior citizen services and veteran services. These are the kind of things that'll have to be cut if the Medicaid costs skyrocket unexpectedly. These are the things that our folks again need. Our most vulnerable citizens will be at risk if we don't figure out a way to stop this from happening.
Senator, I totally agree. And first and foremost, I said that to the budget director. I go, we're like the last state in this nation, because being president of County Executives of America, and I've met with county executives from all over this country, I'm like, we're the last ones that pay for this. And if we're not doing it right, take it back. We'll figure out what the sales tax cut is, and I'll be more than happy to give you. I'm speaking for myself, not for Steve. I'd be more than happy to give it back.
Amen.
But yeah, I'll let go of that. Thank you.